back, guys. Okay, you loved our last DeFi episode so much. We hear you. Unlike the failing constitutional republic, where the people in charge seem to never ever hear you or listen or care, we hear you here, and we do care. So, we're circling back to DeFi. Let's call it DeFi, Part 2. Alright, today we're going to talk about all the parts of exchanges that can be made better in DeFi. Now, we've all heard how centralized exchanges work. Your Coinbases, your Binance, your Kraken, your Crypto.com. You know the drill. You go on there, you do your swaps. You hope that somebody else gives you a good price on the other side, and it's an okay experience. Certainly better than calling your broker up and begging him to do some kind of trade that, you hope and pray he does something right, and you actually get to see it yourself this way. Now, today, we're going to talk about DEXs. Yeah. They're not as sexy as the other competition, but man, are they DEXy. Okay, so the main difference in most DEXs compared to sexes is the way they do your orders. So you see, a centralized exchange, they use what's called an order book method. So two parties got to agree to a price, transaction happens, you both walk away mostly happy probably. But the decentralized exchanges, they use the AMM model. Now, you're going, whoa, AMM, please explain. No. Okay, look, it's simple. It's just automated market maker system, okay? It's really simple. It just uses a very simple formula where it's basically coin 1 times coin 2 equals output, okay? Now, there are some variations that try and make it more efficient or let you do certain weird things with other ones. And we've talked about Curve before, which basically throws that out of the book and says, no, actually, we want these pegged assets to stay basically one-to-one to each other. But we're talking today about the normal ones. We're talking about the Uniswap. We're talking about Sushi Swap. We're talking about Pancake Swap. Oh, man. And we are talking about, don't tell anybody, but there's an aquatic swap coming, and it's going to hit like a tidal wave. Oh, it's going to change up everything. I shouldn't say much more, but all these systems usually have a default set of pools where you put in two assets, and then they have to have an output. And as you buy up more of one, the price increases, and you can buy up an infinite amount of it based on what's in the pool. For a constantly altering price, you can buy as much as you want of it. Now, this makes it much, much easier than having to wait around for the coincidence of wants. He wants to sell, I want to buy. It's not super convenient. One of us ends up usually getting a really bad price. But in an AMM system, you always have the current price as determined by the market, what is effectively the fair price. And if a pool is ever imbalanced, say something's artificially selling super cheap or super expensively, maybe somebody's willing to sell me $1 at less than $1. Oh, I do love that. Someone is always able to come in there and buy up the asset that is undervalued, balance out the pool, make an arbitrage profit. It's fantastic. Instead of having those hoity-toity in their ivory tower instant trading bots stealing all of your potential profits and front-running you and just ripping off your traditional stock market trades, you get to benefit from this. You get to be the arbitrager. You get to be the man in the ivory tower. Only some of us choose our bathtub for the ivory tower. I mean, who doesn't love a good long shower while trading? I know I spend far too much time doing that. Hashtag get me a soap sponsor in here right now. Anyway, hashtag not sponsored yet. You can fix that if you want. But anyway, back to the main point at hand. These AMMs are so much more efficient. Now, while you may lose 0.5% here and there to slippage because you are buying a tremendous amount, you few whales out there, almost all of the rest of us normal people, okay, I'm not normal, but you know what I mean. We trade in such a way where the slippage is so minimal, it is less than the fees that would get stolen from us by those instant transmission front-running idiots on the normal exchanges. So, we're happy to pay a teeny tiny little price change because that's what the fair market value of the price is. Wow, getting something for the fair price. That should not be a revolutionary concept, and yet it is. Why? Why? Because there's so many people with their hand out trying to take what's ours. Now, it's just us and the code. The code is law, and we can read it, and you know what? It's our market now. Now, look, I can tell you about Uniswap and some of their unique features and their concentrated liquidity and how putting tokens in there can give you a pretty good return, okay? A very safe return. And I can tell you can take those LP tokens to all kinds of other protocols, many of which we currently have information about, and man, can they do some interesting stuff with them. And that's exciting. And then there's knockoffs of Uniswap like SushiSwap, and they're basically the exact same thing with very slight alterations to it. And then you've got other chains, on Binance Smart Chain, you have the Pancake Swap. And, who doesn't love the syrup token that is of questionable value? But, hey, you can get a 3,000% return on the syrup stuff. So, yeah, if you want to be really, really sticky, I guess Binance has something for you. Personally, I like to keep things clean, so I'll do some liquidity training elsewhere. Oh, man, I can't wait to walk you through the upcoming ultra-aquatic, ultra-liquid swaps that are coming out. Now, look, you're asking me, yeah, some of these things I can come in, deposit a couple of tokens, let people trade with them, get some liquidity going, and I can make a few percent in fees. But I'm not here for a few percent. If I wanted a few percent, I would let a bank bend me over and have their way with me, and I'll give them my money for a little CD that they pay me, half of what the Treasury's paying them, and just get ripped off. Why are you telling me about my, 2, 3, 4% on some stablecoins or, other assets I could put in there that maybe have a slightly higher risk because of impermanent loss potential? But that's not the point. The point isn't the fees you collect. I mean, the fees are nice, don't get me wrong. If anybody wants to throw me a few extra points, I'm always happy to take a few extra points. The real value in these liquidity pools is there another Lego in your tool set. This allows you to hold something, get a little liquidity on it, and then take that exact value and go put it somewhere else and have lost no value, but now you're getting additional rewards. If you have two stablecoins in a pool, take DAI and DM, for example. These two things are incredibly stable. They're both overly backed. Honestly, they should be worth more than $1, but thank goodness they're willing to let us have them for $1. Am I right? These two things, we can swap back and forth as much as we want, and I'm not worried about them depegging. If I can buy one for 99.99 cents, I am happy to do so, as I'm sure everyone else in here is. And if I can make 2, 3, 4% on that, that's great. I'll take it somewhere, and I'll borrow against it, and I will do exactly what I was going to do with those dollars, but now with a couple percent extra coming in my pocket. It's a really, really convenient Lego. Now, some of you are going to be like, hey, yeah, that's great for stablecoin pairs, and stablecoin pairs are great. I really love providing liquidity to my Curve 3 pool and stuff. I mean, that's nice. But what about the other things? What about the non-stablecoin pairs? If we're talking about something like Pepe and Shiba Inu, look, please leave. This is not that kind of place, okay? If you want Degen Corner where you're taking two assets that have questionable, potentially no value, and you're pegging them against each other, look, you're going to zero or close to it. This is not the channel for you. Please go somewhere else. We love to have the viewership, but we're wasting your time if that's what you're looking for. But if you're over here telling me, hey, I want to put Ethereum and Bitcoin and maybe even a third thing in a crazy pool and let that go around because I think that's the gold and the silver. Personally, I'll disagree with you. I think it's the gold and the oil, but same point. You want these two assets. You want exposure. You want a little bit of fees, and you want to have some benefit when they go up. You can do that. You can get that in a liquidity pool. And people will tell you, look, in permanent loss, if they go up or down massively, you're going to take a little bit of hit due to how the pools work. And they're not wrong, but they overstate how big this is. If both the tokens in the pool double, you're going to take a couple percent of loss due to impermanent loss. But the pool assets doubled. I don't know about you, but if I'm taking 4% loss when I double my money, I'm not crying. I mean, if you are, that's okay. Hand it to me. I'll take the negative 4% on the plus 200% all day long. I will take that burden off your hands if you really want me to. That is not a problem. Seriously, I'm happy for it. It's basically like selling a covered call, but there's no one stealing all the fees, and there's no 3 cents per thing regulatory fee. Look, there's a price to pay for getting additional effects out of things. So if I have to pay a little bit of my gains out in impermanent loss to double my pooled assets value, I'm not going to complain. If I was really that worried about it, I just wouldn't have pooled them in the first place, and I would have done something else. But for those of you who are like, I really want exposure to certain assets, I want to earn a little yield, and you know what? Maybe I am okay with losing 1 or 2% of my potential gains when they go sky high really quickly. Look, that's great. Now you have a really good asset to do that. You have your liquidity pool token that you receive as a receipt for depositing these two things in the pool. You get a yield, and you can go take that receipt to all kinds of different protocols and keep building your stack. You don't want one asset. You want a stack of assets. You want that super delicious burger with absolutely everything on it, plus fries, plus chips, that is just a monster. It is excessive because you want excessive returns. Because you know what? Those boring basic returns that you can go get in traditional finance, those aren't getting anybody anywhere. Unless you already are a billionaire and you're getting your little 1 or 2% or whatever little thing you're getting, it's not doing it for you. If you want a better life, do better. And you can do better here.